Hey, and welcome to my 4th annual Stocking Stuffer Gift Guide. It is crazy. I've been doing this for 4 years. It doesn't feel like nearly that long. This is a guide for board games or card games that you could purchase for people in your life that you want to give board and card games to that are generally under $20 and that could fit in a stocking. So definitely good if you've got a big game group and you want to give something to everybody or stuff like that. Before you get mad at me and go, hey, how come this game isn't on the list? A, maybe I haven't played it or don't know about it. B, I only do 10 a year. And C, maybe I've done it in one of my previous years because I've done 30 previous games. So I have a geek list down below that has all of the games I've listed on this list in the past years. So if you're interested in any of them, I still recommend them. You can go check that out. This is going to be kind of fast and furious, just a little quip about each game so I don't waste too much of your time. So if you want more information, I've also included links to all the games below. So definitely check it out. Now let's get into the games. Up first is Loot and Run. Loot and Run is a really fun push your luck game where you're kind of calling each other out on lying and that kind of bluffingness to it, where you're going through some sort of tomb and they're monsters and you're trying to get as many points as possible without getting called out. And if you do get called out, this is the interesting part of the game. If you successfully call someone out, then you get a specific advantage based off what monsters were in their group. So it really incentivizes calling people out, which makes for some really fun, tense games. It's a very quick, very light game. I like it a lot. Up next is Oh My Goods. This is by Alexander Pfister, one of my favorite designers of the past couple of years. This is a little bit of a heavier, it's towards the heavier end on this list. It's a card game where you have like these cards and you're trying to build different engines to produce different goods and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely for if you have meatier gamers in your group, something to give them that's still inexpensive, a small box game. I'm a big fan of it. Up next is Insider. This is one of the Oink games, the series of Japanese games in very very graphic design centric boxes that are all the same size. There are a lot of good games in that category, so definitely check those out if you're interested in that sort of thing. But Insider is sort of like 20 Questions meets Werewolf, where you're playing a game of 20 questions, but one person already knows the answer, and so it's this weird werewolfy thing where if you are that person, you want to guide everyone to get the correct answer, because that you have to in order to win, but you don't want to be so good at it that people get suspicious of you. And then if you're just good at 20 questions, you also don't want to be too good to have suspicion thrown on you. So it has the like weird werewolf dynamic, but it's very quick. It takes like 5 or 10 minutes each time you play it. We played it at BGG-Con a ton. Up next is another game that I liked a lot from BGG-Con, and that is Capital Flux. This is an interesting game where you have a hand of cards and you get to decide if you play the card in front of you, which could score you points, or you play it to kind of the central pool in the middle that then gives you an advantage based on where you play that card. The big thing in the game is that you have to have more points showing in the middle of the table than you have in front of you, or else you don't get the points. So you want to always be kind of balancing those things, and there's a lot of ways that the center tableau can get adjusted by other players. It's a game that you kind of have to play through a couple times to really get all the interactions and stuff, but it's very interesting, and it has absolutely gorgeous art by Quan Chai. Of course, this list would be nothing without a Haba game on it, so this year's Haba game that I'm recommending is Go Cuckoo. It's one of their newer games. You have these like pickup stick looking things, and you have to build this weird nest with them and then balance eggs on the nest without them falling. It's a very light game. It's totally appropriate for young children, but it's also a lot of fun for adult gamers, especially if there are some specific beverages involved that can really heighten that. But it's got nice packaging and a little metal tube, so definitely like Go Cuckoo. Up next is Legrand HOD, the dice game, No Siesta, or No Siesta, the dice game, however they do that. This is a sort of dice version. It's actually just taking part of the dice draft out of the game Legrand HOD that came out a couple years ago. And it's one of those dice games where you draft dice and then you're all bubbling on your sheets individually. I forget, it's like draft and bubble or something. There's a name for it. I don't remember it. So if you're really into like conflict and stuff, this probably isn't the game for you. It's very sort of multiplayer solitaire, but it's also a very kind of relaxing game to play because there's not a lot of conflict and you're just trying to like make your own system work as well as you can. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely recommend this one. Up next is Nautilion. This is the 4th game, I think, in the Oniverse, which is a series of games from Z-Man that are primarily solo games. You can usually play them with 2 players, but really they're solo games at their heart. This one, you were rolling dice and then assigning those dice to different aspects of the game, where you have to like collect certain things before a ship moves so far, blah, blah, blah. They're really, really solid solo games, and they have a really unique art style that's very kind of like whimsical and childish and looks like crayons almost, that I'm a big fan of. They have really nice packaging, so this is definitely the good pick for your solo gamer in your group. Or I guess they wouldn't be in your group. That friend who plays solo games that you never see because they play solo games. Up next is Castles of Burgundy, the card game. This is a wonderful implementation of one of the best games to come out in the past decade or so, Castles of Burgundy. In Castles of Burgundy, the card game, you are using your cards. They're multi-use cards, and you can use them as dice, which allow you to purchase certain cards and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in the game. It really kind of approaches the weight of Castles of Burgundy, the regular game, which is a good mid-weight Euro. So definitely, if somebody's a fan of Castles of Burgundy, I would recommend this game, or just a fan of kind of like light to mid-weight Euros in general. This is a really good pick for that. It also has a really great solo mode, so this was another option for a solo gamer in your group. And last but not least is Biblios. This is the oldest game on the list. It came out a couple years ago, or a good number of years ago. And it is an interesting game where you are sort of drafting cards, you're picking, and then you assign cards for someone else, and then you assign cards for a thing that you'll do later in the game, which is interesting because you go halfway through the game kind of collecting these cards. You want the largest sets of cards, the highest number, and then the game sort of switches, and suddenly you have to then purchase all those cards that you set aside, but you're spending your cards in order to do that. So it's a really interesting game. It works better than that sounds, and it has a really nice dice mechanic in it where dice are counters for what each set is going to be worth, and the cards let you adjust them up or down so that if you're doing well in a set, you can make it worth more, or not doing well, make it worth less. Very interesting game, and it's a new classic for a reason, so I definitely recommend that one. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope this helped you pick some games for people in your group, or maybe turned you on to some games just that you're going to buy yourself and put under your tree yourself. I do a Patreon that allows me to do videos like this, as well as weekly news videos, so if this was helpful to you or interesting to you, go ahead and click the link, and it'll take you to my Patreon, and maybe there's a reward level that you would like to be involved in, and I would very much appreciate it, because that obviously helps me make these videos, and hopefully these videos help you. So I am off for the rest of the new year. Board Game News will start back weekly in January, so thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in January.